Here we go. Hello, welcome everyone to yet another Analysts After Work. Very excited, and very excited for who I get to talk to today. My man, my buddy, Fabricio Laguna. You know him as the Brazilian BA, but he is Fabricio, my second favorite Brazilian, third favorite Brazilian of all time. Fabricio, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here, Vince. It's an honor to be your preferred Brazilian person in the world.
I mean that is pretty good, right? Like it's
Uh,
it's for the whole country of all time.
yeah.
So, it's not like, you're currently my
Probably
third favorite.
no three Brazilians, but even so, uh,
I know I know I know a few more, but for clarity, so Fabricio is third. Uh the former right back for the Brazilian national team, Roberto Carlos, who I don't know personally, but would love to. Second, he's the reason I always wore number six. And number one is Fabricio's wife, Tete, who is my favorite Brazilian of all time. So
I can't blame you because she is my favorite Brazilian as well.
yeah,
So
she's nice. So she's
yeah,
nice to me, and like,
really
so
nice. And an interesting part is when I go to conference uh, and she comes for the first time. When it starts, she's the Brazilian BA's wife. She's Fabricio's wife.
sure, sure.
And after 2 or 3 days, I'm Tete's husband.
That's right. That's why she's my favorite.
She's so
Because
much nicer than I
she's
am.
just great, just a good person.
Yeah.
So lovely to have her at those events, and I always look forward to when you're both there. I mean, I think one time I said to you, "You're here by yourself." Hmm. Uh,
Yeah, I prefer when she goes as
yeah.
well. I'm a better person.
So let's get the formalities out of the way because otherwise Steve's gonna throw a fit. Um, what are you having today?
All right, so I'm having some tea, right?
Okay.
My cup is the IBA Brazil cup, but the tea I'm having, I got from my friend Adrian Reed directly from England when I was there last month for the
Yeah.
BA Euro conference, and there is a can of small bags of teas, and this is delicious. It's English afternoon tea.
Pardon me.
All right.
For me, water, just water. Keeping it
Well,
simple. Keeping it
yeah,
simple. Yeah.
uh,
And
good.
oh, we have our first comment. Welcome, Nuno from Portugal.
Hello, Nuno. Nice to see you guys.
Hello. I'm sure. I'm guessing there's more folks. Usually, there's more folks lurking in the background, but uh, we were talking in the lead up of how it's actually been a while since we've had a chat,
Yeah, yeah.
and this is the reality of, I think, how did you phrase it? We need to have this show so that we just don't work like stupid guys or something like that.
Yeah, of course, creating this kind of podcast is creating opportunities to chat with good friends and having some conversations that we usually don't take time to do that. We just work, work, work. So we need to fake that we are working in a podcast so we can
Yeah.
chat.
Well, this is both work and social, right? That was
Uh,
so, we
I
get
would say
to we
it's
get to
just social, but we can fake like it's if it's
yeah,
work. Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
well,
We,
exactly. Oh, so
we feel ourselves not doing, I don't know, not working.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and if anyone actually thinks that this is work, like, the work, you know what? I will say this. This is work, and this is, I said this was the third episode. I had about a year in between shows because the work is in setting it up. The work is in, like, getting people that are available and interested in being on the show, setting up the live stream, promoting it on LinkedIn and on social media. That's the work. and if and I know I've said this before, now the work of inviting people to the show, and I mean like just to view, is exhausting because it's literally me scrolling through a list of my contacts of like, should I invite? Yeah, invite. And so if ever you don't get invited, it's because there's like 9,000 people on that list now, and I just, okay, whatever. I've sent it to a couple hundred. Hopefully they see it on. It's work. This is work.
And you do a show that is mainly, it's very free. We have a very open chat, so it's not as much work as someone who makes it very uh, structured and especially edited. If you're going to
Right.
edit later and cut the small pieces and create small parts, like for example, our friend Patty Dunda does a lot of small excerpts
Mm-hmm.
from videos and play. I know that Phil Bart is doing his podcast and he
Mm-hmm.
edits it later. I did a lot of edited podcasts before. Oh, that's crazy work, and I use it to make transcriptions, putting subtitles into different languages.
Right.
That's a lot of work. So even
Right.
using some kind of tool or AI, that's
Oh,
very work.
yeah, if I need to find if anyone knows an AI tool that can make that easy and
There's a very
ideally
nice
like
one.
free or cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, Opus Clip. I don't know if you have seen that
I
one.
do. I have heard of Opus Clip. I haven't looked into it, but okay.
It's a nice one. You
Okay.
still have to review, but it usually gets a good job even without reviewing.
But the review, it's like, and I know we said we are going to talk about AI, and let's save that for later. But to me, that's the easier, like it's the clipping, it's the watching the show, rewatching the show, reclipping and clipping things and piecing them together. That's work. If it's
Yeah,
like, hey, here's 10 clips, review them and flag which one do you approve, then that's a lot easier because now it's taken a job that might be hours and cut it down. That was the whole point of AI. So Opus Clip. I'm gonna make a note make a note of
yeah,
that one, and I'm gonna
yeah.
do some
So
do some more
from
research.
from my experience, you can make exactly as you said. Just choose the ones that you like it better.
Yeah,
Usually, as I am very committed to what I'm publishing, I enter and do some adjustments, like
sure.
sometimes the transcription is not perfect, or if you're using some kind of translation, you have to check. And some
Hmm.
cuts you will say, oh, that's not the best cut. That's not, and so I just enter and make adjustments. Even so, it's much more easier than doing this from scratch with
Right.
a previous tool. So AI improves your productivity a lot.
But that's also because you are a perfectionist who takes pride in your work, and I'm Mr. Good Enough. So, good enough.
I would not say that I'm a perfectionist,
I'm
but
just kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
in a scale, I probably looking for something that if I could do, if I would accept a lower level, I could do so much more, right? But that reduces my productivity because sometimes I don't wanna publish these like
Yeah, which
just as AI.
which is a scathing indictment of me and my level of quality and expectation. Whatever.
Sometimes I see a lot of people who does a very nice job online and create a big community and a lot of followers just by putting his camera and making some comments
It, it,
and
it,
editing nothing, planning
yeah,
nothing, structuring nothing. Very simple, and they are comfortable about that. And I would not say it's bad stuff, right? It's just
it's just not
simple.
for you. It's just not for you.
Or yeah, it's just simple, and they're happy with that. It's their format.
Yeah,
It's how they do stuff.
it's got to be on brand. And the freewheeling. Let's have a conversation. That's my brand.
Yeah.
Uh, so you talked about publishing, and that I'm going to use that as a segue.
Oh.
See,
Yeah.
even though it's not planned, I'm good at thinking on my feet. Um, You recently published a book.
Yes, yes,
Let's talk about that. Do you have a
so,
copy? Oh,
uh,
not only does he have a copy, he has the store display.
right. So this
Please
is Please
hold.
Hold: The Power of Outcome-Driven Thinking. It was published by the International Institute of Business Analysis, part of IIBA publications, and
Sure.
it's probably the most different book IIBA has always published because it's not a technical book; it's a novel. So it's a story of a guy who works into a big bank, and he
Mm,
works in a call center, and he's a call center agent, and then he's very frustrated about his job because he's just not creating any value for anyone. He's just answering stupid things, and he has these stupid metrics that he have to end every call in maximum 5 minutes. And
mm-hmm.
you have seen this story happens with you in the other side
Yeah,
of the line, probably, and
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. I've lived
and
that.
who did it, right?
Yeah.
And so at one moment, he decided that he would change. So he had 5 minutes to end the call or change everything. And so there's a story opening, and he decided that he would not just do his tests, and every test creates an output. He would not just look for the output, he would try to understand and be committed to the outcome. So
Mm,
there's a theory that he starts developing into the book. That's the outcome driven mindset, and that creates a lot of opportunities for him to apply this this culture change into the whole organization. So the
mm,
outcome driven mindset is usually what I see in BAs. And in some point
mm,
in the book, he started learning about business analysis techniques, and he see that business analysis techniques can help people to see the bigger picture, to understand not just from their department or specific goals and metrics, but from a wider perspective. And there he tries to transform his mindset, the company mindset. It's a very
mm,
interesting book. At the end of the book, you can see the value of business analysis very clear.
mm,
It's a book that business analysts can see themselves and relate with a lot of stories where the main character is passing through, and a book that if you're not a business analyst, you still have fun and learn a lot of things and learn to think as a business analyst. That's a book you can, an IIBA book you can give to your mother to read, and she's gonna
right.
like it. Yeah, she's
Because
gonna
it's just a
understand it.
story. It's
Huh?
just a story.
It's a story, and it's a fun
Right.
story.
I love
It's
it. I love
interesting.
it.
You would not give the BA book guide for your mother or the BA
No,
standard, right? But you can give
no.
this one, and at the end, she's going to say, "Oh, son, you're a professional business analyst. Oh, you are such a nice person."
Yeah. My mom will finally probably know what I do. Like, that would be amazing. It's funny you say. I was just reading an article today, and I snapped a picture of it because I don't know if it's going to show. It's not going to, so I'll just read it. It was in where was it? Shoot, I forget the source, but it was published, written by Joe Newbert, who's going to be on the
Hmm.
show in I think next week. I've got Joe and Ryan Folster who are going to be on the show together. But the title of the article was "Why Every Knowledge Worker Will Need Business Analysis Skills in 2026," and I thought, that sort of hits on the Jared line of, like, if you're in business, you do business analysis, or you need business analysis. And so that was really interesting. That was a really interesting perspective. And so, good to hear. And also, I will say, good to so let John know how to get the book.
Right.
uh so if you need to bring up links, let me know.
Right.
um
So, John, it's available on Amazon. If you look for Please
there you
Hold
go.
Fabricio Laguna in Amazon, you're going to find it. But there's some other libraries as well. If you go to the IIBA website and you look for the IIBA publications, there's a list of different uh, uh, stores around the world who has the
Mm.
book. There is also an edition in Portuguese. I'm sure that's not your case, but if you're Brazilian, you probably will prefer Segure na Linha.
Or
It's
Portuguese.
The
Not
Portuguese,
just Brazilian.
or Brazilian, or Portuguese, or someone from, I don't know, Cabo Verde.
Yeah, exactly.
So there
Yeah,
are some other options as well. They're all on
cool.
the IIBA website.
So it's interesting, and I'm not going to get into too much detail because I had an idea for a book that I proposed to the folks at IIBA, and actually, so not just me, it was myself, and I love to collaborate. My constant collaborator, Jamie Champagne,
Mhm.
we pitched a book that was like, no, but it was very much in line with your thinking in let's not make it a like a technical book, let's make it a story. And so, maybe we'll have to kick that can again a little bit and see. I've got a couple other ideas, but I'm fascinated by. And again, I shared with you. I've not read your book, and I apologize. I
Don't
will buy
worry.
a copy. I have not read your book, and the reason for that is, and I had this ready. This is the queue. This is my queue of books. This is what I'm reading right now. Well, you can't see it, but
Oh,
there we go. Digital product management by Kevin, Sally, and our buddy Philip, your conference
depends.
brother. Speaking of Philip, this is in line.
This is
Brainy Glue,
nice. It's also a storytelling book.
all about story. Yeah, this is a book from Greg Brown, who I don't know if you met Greg when you were in Toronto. Greg is an amazing keynote on change management.
Nice.
And then this is the one that I travel with because it's the smallest, and it's a book on AI. You can't see it, but it's a book called "You Look Like a Thing and I Love You." And what's interesting about that book is it's about AI, but it was written in like 2018. So
Okay.
everything that it talks about, like it does mention OpenAI, but OpenAI is the company. It never mentions ChatGPT. So it's a really interesting look at how AI actually works, and not only the underlying structure, but the possibility for what AI is going to bring in the future. So it's really really an interesting, and because it's small, it packs nicely. So that's what I bring. I also need to add to that list Jamie, who just published a book on
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
on career, and I wrote the foreword, and I don't have that copy of that book, so I need to get that one too. But I'm fascinated by this because, and not nobody knows this yet. I haven't actually said this out loud. I am working on my next book, and I would love to go traditional this time, from a publishing perspective. I self-published my first book. It was an experience.
Uh-huh.
And maybe I need to talk to the folks at IIBA, but uh, I'm working. I got bored during vacation, and so I wrote the outline for a book. And so if you have if you have tips, I'm happy to hear them. I'm sure everyone else would love to hear
You
your book
probably
writing
know
experience.
know that saying that say that if you want to go fast, you go alone.
Mm,
If you wanna go farther, you go in a group. So it's hard to have a publisher. It took
mm,
me more time to publish my book than to write it. So I wrote it very fast.
right.
And then there was a lot of work about editing, translating, connecting with publisher. I made a connection between IIBA and a Brazilian publisher so they could
Mm,
create a partnership to publish the book in Portuguese with a lower price. Because
mm,
the price they have in US and Canada is unsellable in Brazil. So
right.
we needed a lower cost, and to
Right.
that we needed a local publisher. So we created this partnership, and all of that gave me a lot of work. So it took
Mm,
it took me a long time. If I was just publishing by myself on Amazon, it would be so much easier, so much faster. But I
yeah.
would probably not be able to connect with so much people. So IIBA have a huge community. It's a different approach. And even
Right.
saying that my book is published by IIBA, it gives me so much more credibility.
Right. Which is why I'd love to go that route. Now, I'm not looking for I'm not saying, hey, folks at IIBA, come I'm not saying that. But you're right. That's the piece that I think I'm interested in now is, and I think what I've got planned is much more um, publishable, right? I think it is to me, I'm writing it as a book that will be published. And I just haven't, yeah, I'm aware of how long it takes to get things set and edited and all that other stuff. Yeah, I wrote my first book in, I want to say, 6 weeks. In
That's
like
fast.
2018, or 20, yeah, it was 2018, just before the pandemic. And I think I published it in May of 2019. So like 10 months before COVID. That's why the sales are not great. It's because of COVID. Um, but I think,
Sales are
yeah,
never great. So you're
yeah,
talking about books, right? No, that's
yeah. It should have done better. I know. I realize the
no,
irony.
no, books, man. That's not a good business model. We don't write books because we're looking for
Oh,
the income.
no. No,
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 that's
no,
not
no,
the
no,
point.
no, no, no. I did, honestly, I did it because I just wanted to be able to say that I did it. And now that I'm in like a lot has changed for me from 2019 to now. And so being able to work on the next book, it's being published by a different author.
Hmm.
It's being published by a completely different person. And this one is that one was one I just couldn't get out of my head and I needed to write. This
Yeah.
one is very aligned with all of the other stuff that I've been creating over the last few years with LinkedIn, through my work with Infotech. It's very in my it's a lot of overlapping spheres for me. And
And that's
so,
good.
yeah, and the outline itself just flowed. Like, I think I wrote the outline in an hour or two. It just like came out of me. Now that I'm back home, I'm finding it hard. I need to like set time and say, okay, I'm going to write for 30 minutes every day, or an hour a week, or whatever, just so that I can have some dedicated time. I have written a few chapters. I need to go back and edit them, right? But
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's right now. I think it's like it's projected to be about 35,000 words. It's it's gonna be real. So I'm excited, but I need to get it. I need to
So
put some focus time in to get it done.
yeah, yeah, you have to make a plan and stand to it and create some commitment for time
Yeah,
to work. Otherwise, you never finish it.
yeah. I said it when I wrote or I learned it after I wrote the first book. I said, if you're gonna write a book, you have to really want to write it, because if you don't actually want to, you'll find every excuse not to, right?
Everything has
And,
on higher
and like,
priority.
yeah, so like, oh, I can't today.
Read my emails.
I have to read my emails. I can't write today.
Uh, uh,
I'm stressed today. I'm not going to write today. And like,
uh,
you will give yourself every excuse not to. And so you have to really, really wanna
and
do
there's
it.
another stuff that you said that I think resonates with my experience. There's something in your mind that you have to put it out.
Yeah.
So there's this call for making it public. You need to get that out of our mind and share with people. So that desire is so strong because you're not doing this for profit. You're not doing this. I see Shashi said about
Yeah.
credibility when we are authoring a book, and that's true. So especially if it's a good book and people comment on it and think that that's useful. So you can write a book because of that.
Hmm.
But usually you must have something to say, otherwise,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's lots of different ways that you can put value out into the world. I think a book becomes one of those ways. right? But like
Hmm.
a podcast
Here
is
we are.
right here we are. I know you develop a lot of courses on Udemy, right? That's again,
Hmm.
you're putting value out into the world,
Yeah.
and that's I find that, and this is really interesting. I'm gonna talk a lot of crap about people right now. I find that, like, and you probably see this too. There's a lot of folks that just pop up and like, hey, I'm launching a new podcast on business analysts, and yeah, follow me, and they create all this buzz, and then 3 episodes later, it's gone because of the amount of work, because of the effort, because like it takes a lot, right? And so yeah,
And also because they get frustrated because sometimes the audience is not responding as they expected.
right,
If you were here expecting, let's say, 200 people watching this show, you would be frustrated, and you
yeah,
probably would stop doing it. But if you're here because you are having fun, we can have this as a good opportunity for chat, and you want to share your thoughts with your friends, and so you have to find the right reasons to do that, and
right,
not the wrong ones. If you are
right.
willing to write a book because you're going to get a lot of money, you are not Shakespeare. Sorry. And even Shakespeare didn't got that amount of money. The books
Not
were
while he was
published
alive, no.
not while he was alive. So, yeah,
No, no, it's definitely it's a labor of love. It's a labor of like I said, putting value, putting your thoughts out into the world, right? And seeing
yeah, it's a
seeing
calling.
what the world thinks, right?
Yeah.
So, um, well, congratulations on the book.
Thank you very much.
I'm assuming it's available at Amazon Canada. I will order a copy, but
It
I'm ordering a
is.
copy on the condition that the next time I see you, I want it signed.
Okay. No,
Okay,
we have an agreement.
we have
That
it's
we
all
have a deal.
everyone heard. If I
We
see
have a deal.
Fabricio next year, probably at this point, and he refuses to sign my copy, I'm gonna bring him back to this episode and say, you lied to me. Now you're my fourth favorite Brazilian, and I
Uh,
don't know who's third now, but you're now four. You're lower on the list.
you have to learn a new to
I
meet
need
a new
to I need to meet
Brazilian.
a new Brazilian person. Okay, so we talked about books. I
And
will give a hint. Yeah,
you mentioned the book about AI,
yeah.
and uh and how AI, and you said it's not a new book, but it's about
No.
AI. And I'm doing a presentation for FUBA, the Festival of Business Analysis in Australia next
Yeah, yeah.
week. I'm doing it online. I'm not gonna be there presential, but I'm talking about AI, and I was trying to connect with some movies that talk about AI. And there are
Mm,
so much great movies that talk about issues and problems that we're living today. But
yeah,
movies like from the 60s, if you, that are talking about AI, the same problems that we are now having to face
yeah.
were already on the movies.
Well, I
It was so
mean,
nice.
2001: A Space Odyssey immediately jumps to mind.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Terminator,
68.
Terminator. Yeah, that was that like
That's a
Terminator.
68.
Was it 60? Okay,
Terminator.
Terminator was the 80s,
In
like
the 80s,
and
yes.
because that's what everyone thinks of, and that I
Yeah.
know when I'm speaking on AI, I'm like everyone thinks it's Skynet, right? Terminator. It all
Yeah,
comes from
yeah.
Terminator. Um, you have movies like I, Robot,
I Robot. Perfect.
right? Like
Perfect.
which I remember came out. I think it came out in like 2004. It
Yes,
was the
the movie,
first.
but the book so older than
Oh,
that.
sure, sure. But I'm
Yes,
saying like I
it's
remember
evolved.
the movie, and I
Yeah.
I thought it was my first. It came out in 2004. It was also the first time that I went to Spain with my now wife, and they had posters everywhere, and I just to me it was hilarious that the posters were Will Smith saying "Yo Robot." because it just translated. It was yo robot,
Mhm.
and I just thought that
Euro.
was funny. Yo robot, yo robot. Like it was that was funny to me.
Em
Um,
português, eu robô.
okay, there you go. Um, so there's that one. There was one with the kid that was in The Sixth Sense.
That's the best name for a movie.
The
Oh,
Sixth
yeah.
Sense.
No, no, I asked that movie. What's the name of the movie?
I don't remember, but I remember
AI.
it was that's right. That's right. It was called AI. So I mean, I think it's interesting because I think we're fascinated by this stuff, right? Like you could even bring it into the example that I like to use is AI is not Skynet, it's Jarvis, right? So we could talk about the Avengers. Well,
Yeah.
Jarvis, because
Yeah.
Jarvis became Vision, um,
Yeah.
right
Jarvis
before.
started nice, but at
Oh,
some
but
point it
he did not
become
end well.
it did not end well.
He did
Yes.
not end well. And then Wanda brought him back to life, but he wasn't alive. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, but like we're surrounded. 'Cause I think we just as people are fascinated by this concept of like, I mean, could we consider the Matrix touching on AI and
Sure.
artificial
Sure.
intelligence,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Perfect.
like this is just like popping into my head. This was not scripted, folks. But
Mhm.
we're fascinated by this stuff.
Yeah. And the biggest amount of movies uses AI is in a very uh, or tells the story of AI with a very bad ending.
Mm,
So we should. That doesn't mean that we are going to have a bad ending with AI, but that we have a lot of opportunities to learn about from those ideas, or from at least to be aware about those risks that they are talking about,
yeah.
and and change projects from beginning and creating the right requirements. And you know who is going to be the ones that are going to do that? Right.
This is why in the course in my LinkedIn learning course, generative AI for business analysts, um, I spend a fair amount of time talking about risks, talking about AI governance, talking about bias and accountability, and all of those things. I first of all, I agree. We're going to be the ones that um, help in ushering in AI, because the risk is that leadership says we want AI and they don't think through. And this is what I think BAs are really good at, is thinking through everything, right? And so
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, we want AI, but they don't think about the repercussions, the ramifications, the risks or the impacts. And so I think you're right. From a requirement standpoint, we become critical, but somebody needs to be accountable. And this is like I had this conversation. I was doing a was I on a panel? I was in Madison, Wisconsin last week for PMI Madison's Professional Development Day. And we were talking about AI, and for me, the challenge with AI right now is when it doesn't go when it goes wrong, who do you blame, right? Because you can't blame that. That's why you still need to have that human in the loop that keeps accountability, because you need to be able to assign accountability to
Mhm.
somebody, right? If the AI makes the wrong decision, whose fault is it? It's not the model's fault. It's not the computer's fault. It's not the AI's fault. It's but it's also not the developer who wrote the code. It's not
Even
the
because the code was not written, it
or
was
or whatever, right? You can't
it
you
is
can't
based on machine learning
exactly.
apprentice.
Right?
Huh?
So you can't blame the developer. You can't blame the whoever uploaded like uploaded the data or manages the data, right? But we know that data is can be biased. And so
Mhm.
who do you blame, right? And that's why you need that final check, that you can look at it and say, is this the right, would a reason, like, is this a reasonable output from the model, from the data, from our AI? And so we have a really important role in the future of actual applied AI and Gen AI in our organizations.
Yeah. When you talk about your leader or executive, your business CEO or whoever
Sure.
asking you that they want AI, we should start by challenging that, right?
Yeah,
Because
for what? Like,
nobody needs AI, right? Let me make a clear statement. Nobody needs AI. We believe that AI can help us to do something that we need better, right? Or
sure.
to get some business better outcomes. And we could use it. So if you don't start by defining those needs, you're just searching the shiny object, the new shiny object. It's just a
Yeah.
trend. Like, oh, we need blockchain, we need big data, and we saw a lot of people just searching those shiny
Hmm.
objects, and a lot of executives. And there's a bunch of money being thrown into investments. They say, oh, let's put a lot of money into this
Hmm.
new tech because it's really nice, and all my
And shiny
competitors
and
are
new and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and all my competitors said that they have AI and I don't have AI. Let's have AI.
Yeah.
That's not the point. Someone have to start by defining what are the needs, who are the stakeholders, or how can we understand this as a whole, and strategically define the best technology to address. And probably now we have a new technology, we must understand it. We must understand what are the possibilities and understand the risks. And as we
Hmm.
understand where we want to go, these kind of questions become clear. It's like,
Hmm.
or who can I blame if it takes a bad decision? How can I be sure it's learning from good data and I'm not
Right.
just putting my crap data on it, and training AI based on a very biased data source, right?
Right.
Because it's going to be biased as well. So how can I still create a process? Oh, AI is going to make all the process. No, no, no. How can I create a process where there's someone taking care of right decisions or verifying decisions? Or
Right.
so this kind of structure have to be discussed. There are decisions that I prefer AI to do than people because I trust better AI than people, and there are decisions where I prefer people to do it than AI. So what are the criteria to do that? Right.
Yeah.
So how can I? Sometimes we, we are using chats, robots every day to like my insurance. When I'm just asking for my insurance company to come home and fix my refrigerator, I prefer to talk with AI. It's so fast, so easy.
Mm.
You
Hmm.
just give me simple questions and I answer, and it's fast. I don't have to wait for someone.
Because it's within the box of the AI,
It's in the box of AI. It's very
right?
controllable. It's very predictable. So it's easy. But if my son is in pain and I wanna talk with a doctor, I don't want AI at that moment. I need some people to speak with.
Right.
So those are different situations. We expect different stuff, and someone
Right.
have to identify those requirements, understand it, and plan for it, and
Right.
plan the journey of the customer. And where can I use AI? Where should I not use AI? How can I
Right.
use AI to do things better? So
Yeah.
this is our
I
job.
I had, so I mean I prior to where to Infotech, I worked for the government, and I was having AI conversations. I want to say like 2015, 2016, like really, really early on. Now then it was AI in the form of RPA, robotic process automation, but it was still, automated routing, decision making, whatever the case may be. And having conversations, it was, conversations with leadership or leaders that would be like, we need AI. Okay, to do what? Like what are, well, we want to completely automate this process. I'm like, okay. Um, and remember, this is like 2015, 2016. You can't, it's not like you can just go to Best Buy and like pick off the shelf a bot to automate your process. First of all, you need to have solid processes and highly mature processes and very minimal variation. Now I'm bringing in the Six Sigma stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
you need to have well-defined processes and then look for opportunities within there to leverage RPA or AI in routing, in decision making. And what they were looking for was the one, like the Lord of the Rings. They were looking for the one ring that would just run everything. And like that doesn't exist. You can insert a bot here, you needed a bot here, you need a bot here, and each of those is going to take a million transactions for you to train before you trust it to make the right call. Eventually, that's what scared everyone off, was if it becomes is it going to potentially become an issue that a non-human made a determination on someone's transaction. How do you then hold that up in court or wherever it needs to go? And so it became a it ended up dying as a result, and I think rightfully so, because in the end, um, you didn't have that accountability. You didn't have that same accountability with the AI model, or with the robotic process automation model, or whatever, however we want to call it, to make determinations on people's lives. And that's what ended that particular project. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't get past like initial discovery, which I'm thankful for, because the other risk is they're like, hey, we need AI and we bought this thing, now make it work. Well, now you've already spent the money.
Let me give an example that is a
Please.
good user of AI and a bad user of AI. So let's say I wanna make an analysis, get people a loan. You go to a bank, you need some money to buy your house, and I will have an AI that analyzes you as a customer and say if you can get this loan or not.
Right.
And I'm gonna use my data of past loans to train my AI. So I have a lot of managers that got loans on the past, and they gave loans for these kind of people, and no, not gave loans for those kind of people. And you could end up with a situation where there was a bias on your managers in the past. Let's say they didn't like uh, strangers, right? People from
Canadians.
other countries,
If you were
Canadians.
if you didn't like if you they didn't like Canadians, and if a Canadian asked for a loan, it was always at a higher interest rate,
Yeah, and,
right?
and,
And
and
that's
you will end up training your AI with this kind of bias,
exactly.
and it's not gonna say, "Oh, I didn't accept Vince's loan because Vince is Canadian." He just will say, "Oh, I didn't accept because he didn't look like the others that I accept." Right?
Right.
That's how because it's not an algorithm. It's
No,
just
it's a
trained. It's
black
just a
box.
pattern, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe because Vince uses glasses. I don't know. Sometimes very crazy stuff because people
maybe.
who use glasses didn't got loans in the past. Right?
Now I am eligible for a loan.
Well, you just raising your chances to be
Yeah.
eligible, right? But let's think about another case that's I think AI is very nicely used. Let's say that I'm looking for all my customers' credit cards debts that they're making online and all day, and I can identify based on the past uh, treats or false usage of cards, right? That there may be a bandit or some criminal usage of your
Mm-hmm.
credit card. And
Mm-hmm.
AI, when it identifies that situations, it
Mm-hmm.
puts this credit on holds,
Mm-hmm.
talk to a human, or even let's say automatically send you a message in your phone and say, "Oh, is that you that is doing this situation because you're buying something that's out of your usual stuff?" And you say, "Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's me." Oh, so that's really nice to use AI because you would not be able to make that using people because it's so much more expensive. You would not be able to do that in the same amount of speed. So that's a very nice usage of AI.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Because it's data, it's data, right? And so it lacks emotion, and it's just
yeah.
looking for patterns. And I think
And,
back to your,
and
yeah,
even in the situation where it could go wrong, you put a human in the loop, and I call Vince and say, "Hey, Vince, is that really you that's making this?"
yeah,
It's trying to. If I just break it and don't have you and don't give you the chance to change, you could be stuck in the middle of somewhere trying to buy a ticket for coming back home, or you could be in a life and death situation, needing your money. You cannot have your money because you're. So someone had to think about this process,
right.
how it works for your customer, how would I use AI, and how can I make my customer journey happy in this situation, taking care about the risks that someone could be using his credit card, and finding what this is business analysis. This is what we do.
Yeah, which I went through that a couple years ago as I was first starting to get into buying cryptocurrency, where my bank was like, nope, this is fraud. And I had to call them and say, why do you keep declining me? They're like, our model said that your transaction was fraudulent because you've never done that before. And I'm like, okay, letting you know it's me. I'm trying to do it. And they're like, okay, we'll update the model so that if you try to make those types of purchases in the future, you're good. Just, I got the whole the risk of like, that this is a risky investment and blah, or a risky, whatever. Yeah. Because I bought Bitcoin at the bottom, and so
That was a good.
that was a good
That
move.
was a good moment.
Oh, I have a Bitcoin story though, but like when I say the bottom, I mean the bottom of the last 5 years. Um, but anyways, it was the model that spit out that it was fraud, and I had to call in and talk to a person to say, no, this is me. I'm doing it. And so that's one thing that AI still isn't great at, is nuance, right? It doesn't understand. And that, to your earlier point on, if I'm trying to change my insurance, it understands the parameters, it understands the business rules, it understands and can adjust. A
Mhm.
doctor needs to be able to read the situation, but also respond to the patient. And AI would not do that as well as it exists today. Tomorrow might be different,
Yeah.
right? But
And this is one kind of usage of AI because we're talking about pattern identification, right? And
right,
when we're talking about generative AI, this becomes creepier. So if I ask someone, yeah, does an AI actor have
yeah.
assignments?
Finish your thought, and then we'll talk
All
about
right,
this
all
one.
right. So
Yeah,
if I'm talking about generative AI and I'm using AI to solve my problems, the kinds of the lack of consistency can be much higher, right?
yes,
Than just by identifying patterns. So I would say that identifying patterns is a usage of AI that we are already very well served from models from a decade or 2 decades ago. So
right.
we have been using this for a while.
Just machine
Gener-
learning and like, yeah,
yeah. So generative AI is kind of new stuff, and you create
yes,
those pictures with people with 5, 7, or 8 fingers in their hands. So we are improving it very much more. It brings a lot of new questions, like when you're
sure,
seeing our image here right now. Is this real or is this AI? So it brings some other questions to the table, and and the kind of trust or you can put on this kind of stuff is different from the other one. So when we're
right.
talking about AI, there are different kinds of AI, different kinds of
Oh,
issues we should be tracking.
absolutely. So let's bring this question back from Robert. Does an AI actor have assignment in a project plan? I have an answer, but what do you think?
But well, let me see if I understood the question. If I'm doing a project plan and I'm creating some tasks and defining the responsibles for that, would I put AI as a
That's
resource of my
that's the
project?
way that I looked at it. I thought of a racy chart, right? Like
All
would I put
right.
an AI actor as a race on a racy chart, right? So
Well, if you think about a RACI matrix, I can use a RACI matrix to describe a process,
mhm.
and I could have a kind of AI agent into my process. That for me makes a lot of sense. Like these tasks done by my AI agent. For a project, I have never done like these because when I think about a project plan, it's something that's going to be done just once and not repeatedly as a process, right? So assigning some work to an AI, it's kind of odd for me. Maybe I'm not there yet. I would assign for someone who would be the one who is in charge of executing the AI. That's
and
how I would do it.
that's where I go to is I wouldn't have an AI actor as a separate, at least not as AI as it exists today. I would not have AI as a separate actor. Um, because again, back to that point on accountability, if the task doesn't get done or is done poorly or what, who do I blame? I can't blame the AI, so it's not an
Exactly.
actor. So from an accountability standpoint, I would say no. I would never put an AI actor in my project plan, in my roles and responsibilities at all.
Okay, but
Do
this is a racy matrix. You have
so
the
right. So
accountable and you have the responsible.
well, but so I mean, obviously AI is never accountable, right?
Perfect.
Never. Can't be,
Perfect.
right? Is
Check.
AI responsible for doing the work? No, it shouldn't be. I think a human may leverage AI as part of their responsibility, but otherwise, no, it's a human. The only thing I might give on is consulted, right? Would I leverage an AI tool? But again, it's a tool, it's not an actor, right? Somebody still needs to be identified as the consulted person, the consulted party. Excuse me. So,
Mhm.
I mean, for me, this I wouldn't. I wouldn't include AI actors in a project plan or in a project
Right.
plan in a race
And what
in
about
a
a process? A repeatable process.
so in a process, I think that's a little different. If I'm leveraging AI as part of like
My
decision making
workforce.
or triaging or it's doing something, then I think then you could list it as an actor. Now, where I would do that, thinking back to the old days of Visio, is I always had a swim lane for technology. And
Hmm.
so to me, the AI actor lives like maybe you create a different swim lane, but and
It's
so
a
you leave
system.
it's a system, right? So you leave technology to be like applications, but then I think you then make the argument of splitting out even further and like having a data swim lane, having a AI swim lane, having a technology swim lane, having
Yeah.
so but I think that's where that's different, right? So in a process, if I'm leveraging AI, yeah, I should acknowledge it as
Mm.
a part of that overall workflow.
Makes sense to me. Hello,
Hi,
Ellie.
Amy.
Nice to see you.
So I mean, I knew we could go like for the whole hour with AI. So,
Yeah.
but
AI
it's
is
but it's so
endless.
interesting, and like
Yeah.
this is where I do appreciate the opportunity to have these conversations with folks like you that we've been talking about this since OpenAI dropped ChatGPT. Like
Hmm.
we've been talking about AI, and I know I went through very quickly, this is a fun toy, writing jokes and writing, songs for my kids and stories and stuff to like, oh my God, imagine if we applied this to work. and I know that you were there too, and I still, it's been a couple years, but I still love that video that you made playing tennis, where you were running A/B tests. And the thing I'm gonna say, I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. The thing that I think everybody missed about that video was that you were out being social and playing tennis instead of being at work.
Mm.
Because if we think about what technology and AI is intended to do, it's to give us more time. It's not to make us work harder, it's to give us more time. And so I thought that that was a beautiful, I don't know if you did it intentionally or not, but I thought that was beautiful because it's like I'm I'm out playing tennis and living my life while I'm still running tests at the office. And that to me was a big, I don't see the world of work changing to that model, and that makes me sad.
And that was on purpose, so it was not
I had a feeling.
accidentally, and that brings us to a question that's, it's not just about technology change. It's how are we going to use the productivity that technology can bring us. So if
Right.
technology make us more productive, are we going to just send, I have 100 employees, I'm going to send 80 home and I'm going to stay with 20 working the full day? Or am I going to use this productivity and share it with people so people can be more time with their family, they can use their time better, they can have better lives? So I believe we have a question as a society about how can we share this productivity that technology can bring us. And if AI is really going to bring us this level of productivity and change that it promises, we have to bring those discussions in a higher level. We have to discuss
Yeah.
politics. We have to discuss how we want to live together as humankind, right?
Yeah. I mean, because it basically contradicts the model of capitalism, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, I'm not I'm not optimistic that we are going to create that world. I hope we do, because to me that's like every technology was meant to give more leisure time. The assembly line, the home, the compute, the personal computer, it was all meant to give more leisure time. And
Mhm.
instead it becomes, well, now I don't need 100 people. I can get by with 30. So bye bye 70 people, and
Mhm.
my, the stock goes up.
Or this should give me freedom instead of making me a slave and working
Right.
all the day, doing all day long, just
which
answering me.
which which is our full circle back to, we don't get to do this because we're so busy with other
Working.
things
Uh,
working, that it creates, you need to find these opportunities to have those conversations. But I think you're right. It's time for a look at, the economic system, the social system, and not at a micro, country level, but at the global level. And that's where I'm not, at least right now, I'm not optimistic that we're going to get there, because I think there's still too much money. And I had a conversation with someone on the other day where we were talking about ESG, and I said, like, you know you can have all the money in the world, it doesn't matter if things are burning down. Like, it doesn't matter that you have money. So
let, let,
yeah. Go
let
ahead.
me end with an idea because it was nice. We gave a loop and came back to the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
beginning, which was nice when we started talking about having time to talk with friends and everything. And you mentioned if it was on purpose when I did that movie that I was playing tennis and having a nice time in the park. And but you said you are not very optimistic with future. So I want to look into the future with a different lens. Yeah, because
Okay.
when you say I'm an optimist or a pessimist, you are trying to predict future, right? And when I did that movie, folks said, "Oh, you are trying to predict what AI is going to be." I don't think AI is going to be like that. And I said, "I'm not trying to predict future. I'm trying to design the future." That's a different lens.
I
So
like that.
the idea of being optimistic or pessimistic is that going to happen or not? But if you look for a future with bright eyes and you're designing this future, you're designing a bright future. And I believe as business analysts, we have this role in our hands of designing the future, and we can be optimistic in a way of not just thinking the world's going to be fine, but creating a world that we want to live in the future.
I can't think of a better way to close the show. That was a beautiful sentiment, and I think that's the world I want to live in. So let's design that future and figure out what that future looks like. So with that, we're just over time. Fabricio, I want to thank you so much for your time. All my best to you, and I can't wait to kick it. Probably BBC next year, I'm guessing.
Maybe before, I don't
Maybe
know.
in
Let's
in
see.
Toronto, in Toronto.
In Brazil, if you come with your family.
We'll talk. But thank you very much for folks that joined in. Robert, Amy, Nuno, Shashi, John. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all
Thank
so
you,
much
guys.
for being on. We'll see you in the next episode. And Mindy's here too. Hi, Mindy. Uh, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.